Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Great to see each one of you having joined. I'm sure you appreciated the march as you go for graduation. You know that long walk you make. Of course, now we are doing it technologically. And we're imagining ourselves moving along. But thank you all for having joined. My name is Judith City Odhiambo. I normally sit under the Women on Boards network in the membership committee. And so I'm the chair actually of the membership committee. So I'm very happy to have joined you this afternoon as you guys get to graduate, of course, in this month of May. Also, we have with us Catherine Musakali, who is also the founder and the chairperson of the Women on Boards Network. So she's with us also this afternoon, and will also be joined, of course, by the guest speaker, Joyce Mouchena. So we are expecting at any time she'll be able to be on call, so that then we can be able also to, she'll be able to be our guest speaker, because she'll be able to take us through that session. So thank you all. And again, I'd like you all to feel welcome. And I'll now invite our chairperson, Catherine Musakali, to give us her welcome and opening remarks. Over to you, Catherine. Thank you.
Judy, just give me 1 minute, please. Just 1 minute.
Okay, no problem. So just maybe just to share who are Women on Boards Network. We know that Women on Boards Network is an initiative that is aimed at promoting and encouraging women into board leadership. And this network also is a platform that brings together women also from diverse fields and also ranks. And basically looking to facilitate women who are already sitting on boards or who are aspiring to sit on boards or who are at senior management level or who are almost getting into senior management level, so that we can understand the nuances of what it means to sit in a board. So it's kind of preparing a pipeline for women, so that we can, once those opportunities come, then you can be able to join. So the initiative also is about also ensuring the next generation of board members. We do have a junior membership. That also is to ensure that even as we take care of those who are already adults, but also we need to take care of the sustainable component of working with the youth in this journey. So in recognizing the number of women sitting on boards today, we know that it's still very low, not just in Kenya, but across the world. And therefore, this initiative is actually timely. It has come at the right time because these discussions, conversations, the sessions that you have gone through for capacity building are all supposed to enhance and complement what you already have as a professional in whatever that you're doing. So it targets women, of course, from 4 categories. We have women who are the top management, whose next natural step is to be in the board, therefore mentoring and training. We have women who are currently serving as board members. So of course, these are developing and sharpening of their skills so that they can better appreciate corporate governance to mentor the next generation of women leaders. And then we have women who are newly appointed as board members. So training and preparing them for the task ahead is important, so that they can understand and appreciate their personal attributes, their biases, what may hinder them from becoming effective board members, and how can they make sure that they're able to work in coordination as a team, even as they serve in that board. And then we have women whose term on boards have expired, but they want to play a role in terms of coaching and mentoring, and just making sure that they can pass that knowledge to those who are upcoming. Again, a very good component so that they can be able to keep abreast with developments in corporate governance, and they can be able even to share what it is that have been their experiences when they have served in the boards in terms of corporate governance, and what are the observations and what do we hope to see even going forward. So the initiative therefore brings together women currently serving on boards, those who are newly appointed, and those who are aspiring to take up board positions. So this way, we will have provided a networking platform for the women to share experiences, mentor aspiring women, and to support each other to effectively perform the roles as board members. So I do hope even for today, I mean, as you have gone through your session, I think for 5 days, you have been be able to see and observe some of these components on corporate governance, and appreciated how important it is to know some of these things, or some things that even you have taken for granted. So I'm very sure that even as we discuss and as we go through this 1 hour session, those are the things that we shall be able to share. We shall be able to provide advice, provide components, provide guidance and wisdom on how best to navigate this field. So Catherine, I hope you're almost ready. Okay, over to you now, Catherine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Judy. Our graduates today, it is indeed my pleasure to first and foremost congratulate you for setting aside 5 days. It has been a pleasure seeing you from Monday through to today, culminating in the board simulation that we just had. It was fun, and I hope that you had fun. But that even as you had fun, you also learned a lot, that you will carry away lessons in your future positions as board members. Even for you, those of you who are already sitting on boards, that you've learned something that will make you a more effective board member going forward. So congratulations on graduating. And thank you, Judy, for highlighting who women on boards are. And I just want, in addition to what Judy has said, just to highlight for those of you who are not members of Women on Boards network, a few other programs that we run. Other than the corporate governance program that you have gone through, we also have board profiling and personal positioning. So given the knowledge you have, how then do you position yourself for a board position? How do you write your board profile? Because we know for sure that boards don't look at CVs. They look for short profiles that speak to their vision and mission and values and so on and so forth. How do you write a board profile that will clinch you that board position? So that's one that we run. And we have a resource who runs it for us out of Malaysia. He's the ex-CEO of Conferry, who are very renowned in this area. And it is always a pleasure to work with TP on this one. The second program that perhaps I would like to highlight is the Global Women on Boards program, which we run together with Lead Women of Malaysia again. And I'm sure that Penina, if she's on the call, she knows who Lead Women are because she's been based in Malaysia for quite some time. That is one program that has the mentorship component. So that is one program that we run. Then, of course, we have monthly board talks, we have breakfast meetings, we have county forums, and of course, we have the annual conference. So I just wanted to highlight those programs that we run as Women on Boards, because we want to continue working with you to build the capacity of women and to make our boards even better going forward. Allow me to introduce our board members to you. And on your screen, we have the board members of Women on Boards Network. We also have a structure at Women on Boards. The things that we have been teaching you, we practice them at Women on Boards Network. I am fortunate as the chair to work with Rose Lumumba, who you met today and earlier in the week. She is a founder member of Women on Boards Network. In addition to Rose, we also have Calvin Nyachoti, who you also saw earlier in the week. We like to call him the boy child, the man who carries the pink card without embarrassment. He is a member of the Women on Boards board. We also then have Judy, who is in charge of this program, who has welcomed you today. We also have Reverend Jenga, who you have been with during the week. He's also a member of the board. And then Nkirote is also another member of the board who you met earlier. And last but not least, and who you may not have met, is Faith Nkatha. So that's the full board of Women on Boards Network. And on behalf of the board of Women on Boards Network, allow me to congratulate you once more on your graduation and on attaining the performance that you attained today during the simulation. Let me also just quickly, on behalf of the facilitators of the program that we have had during the week, once more, just highlight who they were. Rose Lumumba again, Calvin, Kirote, FCS Ndwati, who is on the call, by the way, and FCS Ndwati, let me give you an opportunity to just greet the graduates today and to wish them well. FCS Ndwati.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, FCS Catherine. Very kind of you. Of course, we have just been with them an hour or so ago. It's been a great pleasure to meet you all and to share with you throughout the week, culminating in the last board simulation session. And like has been said by both Catherine and Judith. And Judith, thank you for seeing you after some time. As has been said, we believe that the skills that you have acquired and the exposure, to the various corporate governance elements is really going to help you in becoming very effective board members. And not just board members, but effective in whatever role you are even playing today, even if you are not a board member. So thank you very much. And I wish you all the best and congratulations on your graduation.
Thank you. Thank you, FCS Ndwati. Thank you very much for those remarks. And those were your facilitators during the 1 week session. And again, on behalf of the facilitators, allow me to once more congratulate you and wish you very well in future endeavors. Thank you very much. Over to you, Judy.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Pius Duarte. Yes, he was actually my mentor. I remember I went to the mentorship program with him. So it's good to see you again, and karibu sana. So now we shall have the introduction of the graduates. So I know we have a representation from the two groups. So I think we'll now start with the first group, and then we'll have the representative from the first group who has 5 minutes to be able to introduce the team and of course to tell us how this program has been so far. So is it Florence or is it Naomi?
Group 1, I'm going to take you through. That is Pauline.
That's Pauline. Okay,
Yes.
Welcome Pauline, and take us through.
Okay, thank you. I was the chairman of the first board. We were a team of 7, and my name is Pauline Dotte. I will start off with the members. We have them on your screen. We have Naomi Mbogwa, who is a senior professional and strategic HR advisor and certified executive coach with in-depth experience in global human resource transformation in both the public and private sector. She is the CEO and managing partner of Think People Consulting Limited. Previously, she worked at PwC Kenya as a senior manager and business unit leader, providing leadership and playing a pivotal role in the strategic direction of the people and change in East Africa. That is Naomi. I will introduce myself last. We have Dorine Kemathi, who is currently the head of credit and lending at Kenya Industrial Estates since June 2017. She has 16 plus years in the microfinance, banking, and development finance sectors. She's highly skilled and experienced in credit, lending, and risk management, leadership, development and management, strategic and policy formulation and implementation, business development, and relationship management, really cutting across quite a number of the key functions you find in an organization. We also have Debra Camunto. She works at Absa Life Assurance Kenya as a regional manager. She's an MBA holder, certified trainer, and advisor in both general and life insurance. And on a light note, she did tell us early in the week that one certainty that is there is that you will die. So she says her job then becomes to manage what happens when you pass on and make your family comfortable. We have Dr. Ann Moreggi. Dr. Moreggi is a seasoned leader with a track record of developing, leading, and managing the successful execution of company strategic agenda, delivering growth profitably within the pharma and CPG industries, and brings energy, drive for continuous improvement, and focus on team accomplishment. She's currently the Vice President, Global Business, striving to serve on substantial board roles with impact on equitable access to healthcare and overall social economic empowerment. We've also got Maureen Kangebe, who was our CS. She's an experienced growth hacker who has founded and grown successful companies that span FMCG, engineering, transport, hospitality, and retail. She's passionate about developing people and merging technology and innovation with business to achieve organizational success. She holds a bachelor degree in business and information technology from JKUAT and an MBA in strategic management, USIU Africa. She currently serves as an executive director, Quicker Group of Companies, and is a member of Project Management Institute. We also had Penina Machoka. I think her profile and her picture did not come through, but certainly she was a member of the team and one of the ones who put me in quite a lot of check during the board meeting. So yes, Penina. And finally, myself, I'll just introduce myself. I am a risk professional in the financial sector. I'm currently the group director for credit risk for NCBA Group. I've been in the risk space for slightly over 20 years. I have a passion for mentorship of young ladies, and it's something that I do hope to develop more time to people development, not just ladies, to generally people development. I am at a point in life when I'm interested in leadership at boards, and that is why I signed up for this training. And so I say this training has been very, very useful for me in preparing me in this journey. And since we talked about work-life balance, I am a mom and I enjoy that immensely. And so that was quite useful. As a board, we had a good engaging time. All the members were quite active. We learned a lot. We gave our feedback earlier on. And I think everyone just supports the view that this has been very useful to our individuals' journeys in leadership at various capacities, either within management or at boards. Those who are going in, those who are already in, I think we picked quite a lot. And thank you very much, Women on Boards. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you for having introduced the team and talked about them. So well done. The simulation is working well. So well done to you and your team. To the second group. Who is the team leader for the second group?
Elizabeth Ndemo.
Okay, Elizabeth, please progress. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm honored to present my team. That was group 2. I'll introduce myself last. I'll start with Dr. Jane Juguna, who was one of our able members at the board. Dr. Jane Juguna is an experienced organizational leader who is passionate about effective leadership, good governance, excellence in operations management, and the training and developing of people. At 29 years of age, she was a general manager at a medium-sized organization and has since held progressive responsibilities in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Currently, she's a director of corporate services at a private university in Kenya. Then we also had Rose Karanja. Rose is an experienced, multi-talented leader in global financial and capital markets. She possesses great competencies in project management, business process reengineering, and risk management, with a proven track record of driving key organization strategies initiatives. She's a payment specialist, adept in payment systems at a national, regional, and global level, and she's focused on delivering efficient fintech solutions and achieving financial inclusion. Then we have Julia Kiboure. Julia has over 20 years of management experience in B2C and B2B sectors, having held positions in the FMCG sectors, telco as well, and also fintech payments industries. She has the ability to tackle short-term transformative turnaround assignments that require the ability to put in place strategy, structures, processes, and procedures to solve a specific issue within a function and deliver a medium to long-term strategy effectively. The next slide, please. Then we have Florence Sobinder. Ms. Sobinder is a management consultant, an executive coach, and a change management practitioner with over 25 years leadership experience. In the past, she has managed the training function at Kengen as a human resource officer. She currently serves as an executive director advisory on the board of St. Mary International School. She's a member of Human Resource Management, of the Human Resource Management Institution, and the Doctoral Association of East Africa. Next, we have Naomi Njeri, who it's good to know that she's joining us. She's joining us from Abidjan, and the time zones were quite, I think it took great effort to be on this course at time, because I know I think there's a time difference. Naomi is an influential thinker for international development, organization, corporations, and academia. She's instrumental in translating development mandates and strategies into work programs and budgets. And she has an exemplary track record in business process reengineering technology, adoption, and financial management. Through her self-awareness as a leader, she builds effective communication strategies with teams, applies tact in negotiations and staff mentorship. Then we have Ven Rasugu. Ven is a director at Web Tribe Kenya and Tanzania. At the same time, she holds a position of regional head customer experience in the same organization. She has 14 years experience in business management with both line and staff responsibility in sales and marketing, customer service, and operations. She's an energetic problem solver, experienced in startups, as well as reengineering. She's a recognized team leader and is known for her successful spearheading of Jumbo Pay's 5-year strategic plan. Last but not least, it's myself, Elizabeth Ndemo. I'm a financial services expert with over 25 years experience at various senior levels in the banking industry. I have a wealth of experience in banking operations, business development, and lending across all economic sectors. I have strong skills in leadership, strategy, risk analysis, and client relationships, product development, to name a few. I've co-founded I founded a company called Refuge Group, whose focus is financial services. That's mainly advisory and insurance. And we also have a vehicle rental firm. I must say I was honored to lead this team under Group 2, and we learned a lot from the board stimulation exercise. And I think I speak on behalf of the team when I say this week has been a great week for us. We've learned great insights, we've been challenged, and we want to say thank you very much to Women on Boards for organizing the training. And I know as we step into these board roles, we know that these are serious roles, and at the end of it all, as we step into organizations, we need to know that it's the organization first. And that's why we are appointed as those roles. And on behalf of the team, we say thank you very much to Catherine and team for organizing such a great training. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Pauline. Thank you, all of you who have joined us again. Again, is to say congratulations as you get ready to graduate for the 5-day that you have committed. It's not easy. Of course, now it's easier because you're on Zoom. For us, we did it physically. So some of us have done crash programs. Others have done every Saturday, I think for about 7 weeks or 5 weeks, yeah, to complete. So for you guys, it has also been good. So we have seen this program grow, and we are very happy and excited when we hear the knowledge and in-depth discussions that you have had, the simulations, that they are quite helpful and an eye-opener. I'm sure there are many things that you're able to observe with what happens at your place of work or happens even in your business, and therefore challenges you to see how best then are you able to address and how best can you be able to make your businesses or even your organization where you're working better. So that is good. And for now, I'd like us to invite our speaker. Our speaker for today is Joyce Mouchena. And I'd just like to briefly just go through her CV. So Joyce Mouchena, I hope she's on call. Hannah?
Sorry, Judy, Joyce is having problems joining. She's in touch with Hannah. But you can just take us through her CV, and then Catherine can pick up something.
Okay, fine. So Joyce Mouchena is the gender lead for MasterCard Foundation. Personally, we have dealt with MasterCard. I work at KCB Group, so we've dealt with MasterCard, especially most of you, if you have heard about the Tujiajiri program and the Young Africa Works. So we do work closely with them under that program. So I'm happy to see that she's also one of the people who are going to be discussing, as our chief guest, to be able to be discussing corporate governance. So currently she is based in Nairobi, Kenya. She serves as the gender lead for the MasterCard Foundation, a role that involves providing leadership and technical guidance on the foundation's institutional and programmatic approach to gender and inclusion, aimed at achieving 70% reach to young women as participants in the Young Africa Work Strategy. Joyce has led various strategic, gender-sensitive, and inclusive change initiatives for over 2 decades in both the development and humanitarian sector, with a focus on Africa. Before joining the MasterCard Foundation, she was the Director of Empowerment and Transformative Change with CARE Kenya, where she helped set up the Women's Voice and Leadership Program, supported under the Canadian government's Feminist International Aid Policy, commonly known as FIAP, as the Gender and Inclusion Specialist with the International Rescue Programs, the Kenya Peace Initiative, and the Kenya Youth Employment and Skills Program. She was instrumental in getting non-traditional actors into gender dialogues, including cultural leaders, employers, and training institutions, to acknowledge barriers to the inclusion of marginalized young people, especially women and youth with disabilities, and develop practical policy and pragmatic remedial measures. She leads several initiatives on women empowerment, youth engagement, and child protection while serving as a program manager with Oxfam, Novib in Somalia. That's between 2005 and 2012. So she holds a master's degree in international conflict management and a bachelor's degree in social work from University of Nairobi, a diploma in human rights education from Equitas, Canada, and has followed various executive leadership and professional courses at the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, IMD Business School, and the Strathmore Business School. such a wealth of knowledge from Joyce. So I'm hoping that if Joyce is ready, Catherine, if she's not yet ready, then Catherine, you can pick up from there. Thank you.
Ladies, allow me to just share a few things about my life, which may perhaps give you some ideas about how we as women can influence the corporate sector and how you can then take your own career in your hands as you move forward. So I worked in the oil industry for a very long time, where I rose to the position of head of legal and company secretary of Shell when Shell was in Kenya. For those of you who have worked with multinationals, you will know that if you have to rise in your career, they will most likely take you for a cross posting, and they will not promote you unless you take the opportunity to work outside of your cultural environment. So I am a mother of 3. And after I had my 2 boys, I was then asked to go and work in London in the UK. At that point in time, when I accepted to work in the UK, I didn't know that I was pregnant with my 3rd child. So then I'm told, okay, transport yourself, and we are happy to transport your family with you to the UK. But my boys were in school, and then I discover I'm pregnant. So the first thing that a woman does is, I can't go because it's only for 1 year. I can't go because A, I'm pregnant, 2, my boys have to be in school, so I can't go. It took my line manager, Mr. Patrick Obat, for those of you who know him, to tell me, Catherine, snap out of it. How are you ever going to grow your career if the first people you think about are your family members and never yourself? The problem with you women, he gave me a lecture. The problem with you women is that you're so mother hen that you take on everything under your care. You don't even allow us, the men, to step in and help to stabilize the family. So Catherine, I am going to ask that you push this forward by a year and you take on this assignment. I have never been so grateful to Patrick, because after a year, I then moved to the UK. And initially I thought I was going to go with my daughter, but when I arrived there and I saw the childcare issues there, I decided my daughter is going to come back home. So I was so happy that my husband agreed to stay with the kids and look after them. And I could take the calls of, I am standing in front of Uchumi, in front of the fridge. Which milk do I take? Do I take Brookside or do I take KCC? You know, I could take those calls because I allowed him to be my support for me to grow my career. So as women, we must always ensure that we use the support structures that we have so that we focus on our career as well. There must be a balance between your career and your family. So you don't necessarily have to sacrifice one for the other. But what support structures can you use as a woman to grow your career? What support structures can you as a woman use to make sure that your family stays together? Because of course, if you focus too much on your career and forget your family, you might never be happy. But at the same time, going through looking after your family and feeling that you have sacrificed your career, you might always blame them for not moving ahead in your career. So as women, we must find that balance in life. There is something, and I know many of you are in this space, there is something called the wheel of life. How does your wheel of life look? What are you concentrating on more instead of the other areas? How are you balancing your wheel of life so that you focus on what is important, you focus on what is relevant for you and your family and what makes you happy? Because at the end of the day, what is really, really important is what makes you happy. Many of us are also stuck in careers that don't make us happy. Find your passion. Find your passion. Because once you find your passion, it might very well be that you don't have to be in that career, that you don't have to be working where you're currently working. What is your passion? That is the key to a lot of the things that will help you achieve your passion and reach where you want to be. The other point that perhaps I would like to emphasize is as you go through life, you must set certain goals for yourself. And those goals must be balanced. Set your life goals, set your career goals, personal space goals, and go after your goals. Make sure the goals make sense to you. Make sure the goals are smart. Unless they make sense to you, you will not go after them. Find a buddy, find a mentor, find a coach, that person who urges you on, that person who holds you accountable and says to you, hey, Catherine, you said that you are going to sign on to your PhD. FCS Ndwati, I'm not talking to you. You said you're going to sign on for your PhD program. What happened? Please don't ask me that question on Monday. What happened? Find that person who urges you on, who holds you accountable, who pushes you on. But the most important person who should be true to themselves is yourself. You must be true to yourself. You must be true to your values, to your aspirations. You must speak truth to power, as they say, to yourself. I'm speaking about authenticity. What is authentic about you? Because that which is authentic about you is what will push you to achieve and to reach where you want to go, to achieve your goals and to reach where you want to go. So be true to yourself. Don't try to live anybody else's life. Remain true to yourself. And please find that mentor. Many of these senior leaders are only too willing to coach us, to mentor us, to sponsor us. And when we talk about board positions, let me tell you, there are nothing short of sponsorships. And this is the healthy sponsorship, not the Kenyan sponsorship. Find that person who speaks about you, who is willing to sponsor you to the boards that they know, who is willing to introduce you to their networks of board positions that they can recommend for you. So find that person. They are too willing. It's lonely at the top, as the saying goes. It is actually lonely at the top. So these guys are only too willing to support you. Ask yourself today, who is that person I would like to be mentored by, to be supported by, to be sponsored by? Find your way to that person. You'll be amazed at the fact that they will actually agree to take you under their wing. It is just for you to ask, and the rest is up to you.
Catherine, maybe what you do is maybe just to tell us in your observations now, we have a new Chief Justice, of course, yet to be appointed, but of course she will be appointed. We know she'll get that very soon. I'm sure you must have been very excited and I'm sure you must be knowing her. So maybe you can tell us from your perspectives, what do you think that appointment is going to do to the women, and especially the young girls who are looking up to her to see her sitting in that position?
Judy, thank you for that question. And let me say this as I respond to that question. Don't underestimate the impact you have on younger women. Don't underestimate it. Even within your sphere, your old school in the village, for those of you who went to the village, that old school there, those young girls, don't underestimate the impact you have on them. And I think Martha's appointment as a CJ is going to encourage more women, more young girls to work hard. And I think that's why the Women on Boards Network has started concentrating on the junior wing as well. Because what is Martha telling us? Martha was in the trenches, in the civil society sphere, in FIDA, fighting for the rights of women. You know, she was one of those women who mud was thrown at, so on and so forth. But she fought through the ranks. Even going into the judiciary, she was seen as an outsider because she was in civil society, but she went into the judiciary and has worked so hard up to the point where she is. Just think about what her villagers were saying about her. She was that young girl whose family was not born with a golden spoon in their mouth, but she was determined right from the word go. I think it was her father who said that she saw a chief justice and she said, I think it was a judge. She said, I'm going to be a judge. At a very young age, she said that, I'm going to be a judge. So focusing on where you want to be is critical and important. Otherwise, you go through life aimlessly, not knowing where you're coming from, not knowing where you're going. So it's important to set those goals. And just to come back to your question, Judy, her appointment is a game changer for many young girls. And we too should aim to be game changers for other young girls. We too should start holding each other's hands. As you go up, please remember there's space for everyone. Don't go up alone. Pull another young lady, pull another young girl up with you, pull another woman up with you. There is space for each and every one of us. And as Malala said again, we cannot succeed when half of us are held back. So we must succeed with each other. We can't succeed alone. We must succeed with each other. I hope that answers it, Judy. Please let me know when Joyce is ready.
Okay. Okay, I've not seen another question, but what I would like to say is, under corporate governance, so far with the trainings that we have done, we have seen there's a lot of interest from a lot of ladies to do this program. So what do you think is generating this interest so far that we have seen at Women on Boards Network?
Let me tell you, there has never been a time in Kenya that people are thinking about diversity on boards as we are today. If you look at the codes of corporate governance that we have in Kenya, Mwongozo talks about a diversity and skills matrix. The CMA code talks about a diversity and skills matrix. The Code of Corporate Governance for Private Entities talks about the same. The Prudential Guidelines for Banks talks about the same. So everybody is looking at having a diverse board and getting more women onto boards. But when we get onto those boards, let's not be flower girls. And in fact, every time I'm asked at Women on Boards to nominate a lady onto a board, I say, I'm not able to do that. What skill are you looking for? because people must stop seeing us as women to just correct the situation as it is. There is a skill we are bringing onto the board. So we don't just want to take up board positions because we are women so that we tick the box. We need to be included. And the only way we will be included, so diversity doesn't make sense if it has no inclusion to it. The only way we shall be included is because of our professionalism, our skills, our capacity and capability on the boards. When you get onto that board, be so good that they're saying we need another woman on this board. Be so good that they start nominating you even for your other boards. And so, Judy, previously we will talk about the usual suspects, the Carol Musiokas of this world, the Carol Armstrongs of this world, the Flora Mutai, Patricia Itau. You know, there were just a few women that we spoke about. We are now starting to widen that pool of women to sit on boards. And many boards recognize that many of these women are actually overstretched. So bringing them onto their boards does not really add value. You would rather get somebody else who has more time to concentrate on your company and so that they can add value. And so when you get onto boards, what value are you bringing? You need to ask yourself that question. First, why do I want to get onto a board? And secondly, what value am I going to add onto the board? We often talk about the oversight role of the board, when in actual fact, we should be talking about the oversight role of the board and the value created by the board. So as a woman sitting on this board, what value are you creating for this board? What brand are you cultivating and growing? Because it is that brand that will get you onto another board. And it is that brand that will ensure that another woman gets onto a board. Or if you're such a bad brand, that is the one that will prevent another woman from getting onto a board. So think about it. You are the brand ambassador of other women when you get onto that board. And therefore, you must really be the best you can be so that we get more and more women appointed to boards. And the truth of the matter, if you look at studies over time, diverse boards have ended up delivering much, much better results than boards that are not diverse. And I would say that I would give the same message to boards that are full of women only, to boards that have no men on them. You need both. You need both. So what value do you bring onto the board? Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies. Let me not waste too much time, but it is my honor and pleasure to welcome you, Joyce, to speak to the graduates this evening. Thank you very much. Over to you, Joyce.
Thank you, ladies. So gracious. Please let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
And thank you for the invitation, Catherine, my role model. She may not know how much she impacts the world as she just does live. So I have been asked to speak in 20 minutes. I know Catherine may have mentioned a few things about me that she knows. And so allow me to also introduce myself, just in the interest of filling in any gaps. So my name is Joyce Mouchena. I currently work for the MasterCard Foundation, but I'm actually here as a member of the Women in Boards Network. So even though I work on gender and support our programs on gender within the foundation, I feel very much in this space as a member of Women on Boards Network. and not necessarily representing the MasterCard Foundation. And for that reason, actually, anything that I will say is about me as Joyce and as a member of the network, more, and not really as a representative of the MasterCard Foundation. My background is in social science. I am a sociologist trained on gender. I've done lots of work in protection and programming in that area. So in terms of my board experience, I did work and serve in my village schools as a member of the board of management. And then I recall, and I'll tell you this as we go by, in 2013, when people were running around doing campaigns, and I remember speaking to one gentleman who was a professor at the university at that time and was vying for a position. And I said to him, what are these things that you guys do when people support your courses and you appoint them into boards? I was like, I mean, we can work on that. So that's actually, that conversation on the corridors of the university is how I ended up in a parastatal board, because I requested and I followed up and I asked, and I think 3 years later, I saw my name on a Gazette notice, and it's been nearly 6 years then. So I'll share with you a few slides about me and about my journey, and hopefully in the process, it may inspire someone, but don't be too optimistic. don't take this too seriously. I like women having fun. So please tell me if you can see my slides. Tell me if you can see it.
Yes, we can see the slides now, Joyce.
That was a Women on Boards network, but say I through the help of some leaders, something called Your Mission Flight Map. Your Mission Flight Map. Slides, which is actually my mission flight map. So I hope using the ideas shared here, you may also find it useful working on your own mission flight map. And my flight map and identity. And here, then I just think about myself. Where am I coming from? What is my basis? And my basis is a very basic village upbringing. As a teenager, I left the village when I was about 19 to join the university. So so you can imagine, virtually half of my life has been spent in the village, growing up in the church, watching my mom do her thing. She had never gone to school, but she was and my father was a police officer and very calm, never really wanted to engage in any controversies. My mother was almost like the troublemaker and the disciplinarian. One of the things that I hold really dear is checking the route, checking where you're standing and where you're coming from, and how where you're coming from is actually constantly watering your energy and inspiring you as you move up. So the first part of my mission flight map is who I am. That's what I was just describing before internet connectivity made a mess. Who am I? The second element of my mission flight map is, how do my values drive me? And I will not belabor this point because I overheard Catherine talking about values, but you define and pick a few of the key values that drive you. And for me, it's fairness, it's kindness, it's honesty, generosity, and loyalty. Not because those other values don't matter, but because in defining your mission, you kind of ask yourself, what are the key things that also serve as triggers to your action? If fairness is broken, if kindness is broken, if honesty is broken, if generosity is not there, if you are not in a loyal environment, how do you react? Where do I come from? And where do I come from is not now geographically, it's internally. What is it inside you that is informing and showing up when you are interacting with the world? And I think when I was reflecting upon my life, I thought, I actually feel I come from a place of abundance. And the abundance is not in a material sense, but it's in the sense of being content with what you have and working with what you have to build bigger and more. So as a parent, as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter, as a professional, as a leader, when I sit in the board, what I have enough to be able to use it to build up. So where are you coming from? Are you coming from a place of deprivation? Are you coming from a place of complaining? Are you coming from a place of seeing the cup as half full, or are you seeing the cup as half empty? That is the element of where I come from, where you come from as part of your mission. The fourth element is, where am I going? Where am I going? And this is perhaps what you'd actually call the body of the mission. Where are you going with this? How do you purposefully align your values that we've just talked about to the environment where you're working? So if you're going to seek to work in a board, what kind of board are you looking at? Is it your organization where you are, the proprietor or the director, and therefore you're also needing other people to join you on the board? What is the value system that is held dear in that environment? So personally, what I've seen in my leadership journey is a purposeful alignment of my values to the values of the space where I have worked. Whether it is in the nonprofit, whether it is in the church, whether it's in the community, planting trees in the community or doing whatever else, or now serving in the board as I do. As I mentioned, I started off by sitting in the boards of management in my school because I felt my former school, for example, needed a fence around. And I was like, we can do something around this. We can raise funds and fence off the school. The last item is, this is what my impact is going to be. So on your mission flight map, figure out or try and figure out what is it that you want to impact the world around. So on my impact, I stated empowering women changes the world, because that is sort of what I've done my entire life. And this is very consistent with one of the women leaders that I've had the opportunity to read about, who says, I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own. And that's a quote from Audre Lorde, who was a civil rights activist in the US. And this is really, for me, the impact I want to create around. When I interact with women, when I hope when I speak to you like this, somehow, even in a very minor way, I'll leave a positive impression on someone. And where I don't do it, then that is where I also kind of feel falling short. So I asked myself, why then is it so important? Why is on my mission map, why is empowering women so important? And you'll realize, and probably in the course of the week, you've heard that Africa it's doing pretty well actually in the board front, has achieved slightly above the world average of So the world average is 17% women on board and top leadership, and Africa has achieved about 25%. But the problem with us in Africa is that we do not have a lot of women in middle management working their way towards boards and the C-suite as other countries. So there's the missing middle, as they call it. And that is where I think an initiative like Women on Boards comes to actually bring to the fore and help to fill that gap. And in Kenya, for example, and Catherine has just been talking about this, board diversity is a top of mind topic for everyone. Sometimes I believe it's okay to fake it till you make it, because sometimes it's not always coming necessarily from the depth of the heart in terms of commitment. Sometimes it comes just for purposes of being compliant, which is fine, which is okay. Because any woman that is picked to go and fill up a gap, regardless of the motivation, needs to be ready to show up in a way that people will want more women in that space. Show up in a way that somebody will say, how did we survive without women on this board? I hope I'm still on before I continue talking to myself.
Yes, you are, Joyce.
Yeah.
Okay, and so very quickly, as I wrap up, I was going to just say, I'm sure in the course of the week, you have discussed the role of the board, so I'll not go into that. But if you recall, the late U.S. Supreme Court Judge Ruth Ginsburg is famously quoted as saying, women belong in all spaces where decisions are made. So that's where you belong. That's where I belong. That's where we all belong as women. Whether it's in the home front, whether it's in the community, whether it's in the marketplace, whether it's in the offices, in the corner office, that's where we belong. And the benefits of being in the board are enormous. You know, that's where you get your exposure. That's where you create your networks. That is where you will get the sponsors that are going to take your name and speak about you in spaces where you are not. And of course, the fact that you get that learning room, you know, the room to go beyond your, for example, for me, who has been very much, has built my career around NGO work. My board experiences was what has taken me out of that space. And in fact, that is how come, I mean, the MasterCard Foundation is a private foundation. I feel very much at ease working with the private sector, working with governments, because then I have had that chance. I don't think I would have done this if I didn't have X number of years interacting with higher level thinking, higher level interaction, and higher level doing, so to speak. So there are, of course, many challenges of being in any board. I mean, you have the collective responsibility. You have the fact that you have to have your head in the air, your feet on the ground, your eyes on, and your hands off. You know, it's quite an interesting posture to take, and I want to believe that has been part of the content that you've discussed this week. However, some challenges actually have a gender lens. Some challenges in the board are not innocent. They come as challenges that are experienced largely because of us being female. One of them is numerical. You go into a board and you're the only person. And probably, even when people are talking about who they're addressing, they say, gentlemen, and you're thinking, oh, yeah, I'm here. So now you kind of feel overpowered by the number. Sometimes there are cliques that are just cliques of men. They met at a football place or at the golf course or at a joint where they were having a bit of refreshment. You were not there. decisions are going to be made. And the reason why you are not invited is because perhaps you're Mrs. So-and-so and they cannot call Mrs. So-and-so for a night meeting to discuss an important body point. And so you kind of miss out. Sometimes as women, we may be thought of as less, not just in the boardroom, but in many other segments of the society. But other times, actually, we also show up a bit unprepared. Sometimes we genuinely didn't have time to read the papers. Other times we were just almost, can I say, not very serious with the assignment. So when we lack time, we end up not being too prepared, and then we almost play into the thinking that women are not as good. Sometimes in some boards that are not so professional, people may expect you to serve tea, and I'm sure you may also have discussed this in the course of your training. But I would say let's present ourselves intellectually in the board the same way we present ourselves physically, because when you meet up a woman ready to go to a board meeting, oh my, I mean, she is at her best. She is elegant. She is everything you may want to look at in the physical sense. So let's nourish our minds and be ready to take up that position as well in discussing the details. So let's pay attention. Let's get prepared. And I would just like to encourage you and say, in my own experience, I have realized sometimes you just have to fill up your confidence cup every step of the way. Consider yourself a full board member and carry yourself as such. Prepare yourself, network with people, ask the right questions, carry your character with you, your value system with you. Don't try to be a man. You are not going to come out well. It looks very unfinished if you're trying to become someone else. Be sure to take the challenges as they come. Don't run away from any responsibility, because leadership is not for the faint-hearted. Be respectful, but also firm in communicating where you're treated as a less human. And do not assume anyone. The people you meet are the people that are likely to help you out in something. They are the people that are likely to expand your network in a way that will definitely be, will take you to the next level. Because I mean, boards are at different levels. You could be serving in a local board, you can get into a national board, and of course, through the Women on Boards network, we have opportunities for global board positions as well. Consider reflecting on your mission and align your mission to your career, to your board service, and to everything that you do. What I have found easier to do in my life is that I do not have a Joyce that goes to work and a Joyce that shows up at the boardroom. And my children kind of know that if something is not right, it's not right, whether it's at home or it's in the boardroom. And I find that character true of a lot of women, really a lot of women. I wouldn't say all, but we do have that intuition. We do have that sixth sense that makes feminine power really, really powerful and solid. So in my work as a gender expert, empowering women, and of course also having very interesting conversations with men, I find it very easy if you're coming into that space as a whole human being. You do not pick the person, you know, the Catherine who shows up at the Women on Boards, and the Catherine who shows up at her office, and the Catherine who shows up at church. Let's create that integral human being, because it's easier. Women have too many things going. We don't have the time to change personalities. We don't have that luxury. And so in my short journey of leadership, I have found that form of integrity very easy in aligning my work and my mission with the space where I'm called to serve, whether it's now in my career where I'm paid to work, or whether it's even in voluntary service in the community. It all works well when you show up as a human being who people can say what you see is what you get. No cards under the table, but of course, being able to read your environment and act with wisdom and with genuine concern that makes people not doubt you. Even when you ask a question, they answer you because they know you're not trying to dig for something, for some sinister motive. So ladies, those are my few experiences. I would invite you, and as I said, I'll share this mission flight map with Agnes to circulate. It's a very personalized one, so please ignore what doesn't look very public, but I'll share, because then that's what I had intended to do this afternoon. Sorry if I've taken more time than I should. My apologies, but I'll stop here, ladies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you for that insightful discussion that you have taken us through. I'm sure the graduates are much more enlightened. I can see Catherine has given you a clap. So of course, very much happy with what you have shared, because every time we do get something new of what are people's experiences. So whatever you have shared, of course, we know it's going to be useful for these graduates. I know I've been talking to you guys and you don't raise your hand. So what I will do, I will call each name on what our presenter Joyce has talked about. What have you picked out? Can I ask Dorine, just tell me one thing that you have picked out of this session?
Let me first appreciate Joyce for that insightful session. I like the idea of having your mission flight map, knowing what your values are, knowing what you are, knowing where you're coming from and where you're going, and crafting your strategy towards where you're going. I love the sentence that she said, what you see is what you get. Don't pretend to be what you're not. Just be yourself.
Thank you, Dorine. It's good now I'm hearing your voices. Julia?
Thank you, Joyce. I think that was excellent. I'll echo Dorine. I like that idea of the mission flight map. I think it's in our heads, but we don't arrange the information. So even as you were doing it, I was trying to write down mine quite quickly. So thank you. I picked, when you do your mission flight path, you'll notice how your journey of life has impacted who you became. And sometimes who you became can hold you back, or it can propel you forward. So I think I'll also go through your presentation and try and refine it a little bit. Instead of keeping it in my head, I write it down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julia. Debra?
Okay, Julia, I like your focus. And first and foremost, I would like to thank you for the great presentation. And I like the way you are so focused. And what really encouraged me most is your courage before you became the board member. When you met the politician in the corridors and you asked the politician, how can I become a board member? That was really, really courageous and really good. Thank you.
Thank you, Debra. Ven?
You should meet Joyce in real life, eh? You will just see that go-getter. I can just imagine her asking the politician, hey, how do I get to these boards? Well done, Joyce.
Yeah. So Ven?
Yeah, thank you. What I've picked is what is the value you'll bring to the board? Most of us, just as Joyce's example of stopping the politician on the street and asking me, can I join a board? I wish that politician asked her, what value are you going to add if I add you to this particular board? So it's a good point that I'm actually asking myself, as much as I'd want to, join more boards, what value am I going to take to the other boards? That's really what has spoken to me, that I need to find my value.
Okay, as Hannah prepares the graduation session, which I will call her shortly, Jane, anything that you'd like to add?
Yes, and thank you, Joyce. And because she's shared her life with us, I'll just say what really spoke to me. And I'll say why. I wrote it down. It's something we've said many times, so you wonder why I wrote it. At times, fake it till you make it. Having found myself usually as the youngest person in the room means that, yes, this is what I've brought, but I still have some learning to do. I am wiser now than I was, that I needed to have looked for mentors and coaches much earlier, but that is why I'm here. But that is why it spoke to me. For that reason. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Take it as a journey. Don't be hard on yourself. It is a journey, and that's part of life. Sometimes you sleep, and then of course you get up, brush yourself, and move on. That's part of life. And so this forum also is a good stepping stone for you. So make use of it so that you can be able to pursue your objectives that you have even as you move further. So Hannah, please prepare us now for graduation, because now we are going through the ceremony. So over to you, Hannah.
Judy, I had one thing to add, please, before
Yes, Naomi. Yes, Naomi.
There's one thing that spoke to my heart.
Okay,
actually,
Naomi.
1 or 2 things, and I think that one of the spirits that has carried me through is abundance. Knowing that there's everything for everyone. The second thing is being kind. And that thing is about being real in the house and in the boardroom, being yourself.
Yes.
And the last one is, I don't have to be a male, I don't have to be a super.
We've lost you a bit there.
We've lost
Yes.
Naomi.
Yeah.
Perhaps as she comes back.
Okay.
Maybe I would just like to ask Joyce a question, Judy. Joyce, in your leadership journey, what has been your greatest personal challenge? So not external challenge, but individual, personal. And how have you dealt with it? Have you completely dealt with it, or how are you dealing with it so that you grow as a person, as a leader?
Thank you, Catherine. That's a very interesting question. I wouldn't even start thinking too hard, because it's happening. It's real, and that's why I actually said we are all work in progress. The thing I find personally challenging in the boardroom is when you do not know everything that is being discussed. I am a board member sitting at the helm of an insurance regulator. Insurance is a very highly technical area. I said I'm a sociologist, and when I showed up at the board, I said, you know what? The only thing I know about insurance is that I consume insurance. So please teach me. So there again, being real and letting people know that you're not embarrassed in not knowing. When I go to private sector, for example, and I'm having conversations, this time not really as a boardroom conversation per se, but it's an area where you feel you haven't learned. It's a financial institution. You have no idea how they're doing these projections. You're discussing about a massive women's empowerment fund, and you're like, teach me. Like, almost like explain to me like a 2-year-old. So I actually consider myself as a lifelong student, and I do not underrate any training. And Catherine, you will know this. I joined the Women on Boards Network because I felt I had missed a previous conference and I was going to miss this one. And I'm like, no, this one I have to run, almost like walk to Mombasa to attend this conference. So ladies, please be students and do not be cowed by not knowing. Kupotea njia ndio kujua njia. The moment you realize you do not know something, just dust yourself up, show up with the confidence of somebody who does not know, and ask the right questions. I hope that answers you, Catherine.
Yes, it does. Maybe just an addition to that, Joyce. When you feel like you're lost and you perhaps don't know what to do, what do you tell yourself? I want to hear about your self-talk.
My self-talk is usually around separating me from the situation. So being in the boardroom and not knowing is not Joyce. It's that situation. There's a board member here who does not have all the content clear in their head. And so before my knees start growing jelly and me thinking that defines me, I actually have a very clear sense of what I am and what would be considered as what I have or what I'm working with, the tools, the materials, the environment. So I hesitate to, can I say, take it in. I don't take it in. Sometimes, of course, it's going to be a little bit of that panic moment, transitioning between defining whether this is you or whether this is work. But that's really the space where self-awareness kind of comes to save the day. So you are aware, you're fully aware that you're not with it on this topic. And because not knowing has the capacity and the possibility to draw out your confidence, you save your confidence first. You know, like you literally have to ring fence your confidence before it's taken away by things that are not necessarily you, which is the knowledge you need to acquire. It's a bit external, but you is your confidence, is your stability, your internal metal that makes you. So, and I'm not trying to paint a perfect picture. I'm only saying when that shaking moment happens, you quickly have to pick yourself and ask, what is causing this? Why am I feeling anxious? And if your anxiety is coming from not knowing, just naming it by itself actually returns you quite some significant confidence credits. So you become confident again and you're able to ask the right question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joyce. You spoke to a video we watched earlier, which was about boys and girls, and boys saying there is something wrong with this mathematical formula, but girls on the other hand saying there's something wrong with me. Now you choose to say there's something wrong with this formula. Can I understand it? So ladies, I hope you remember that video we watched, boys and girls. Right. Ladies, we have been with you for the whole week, learning about corporate governance, learning about boards, learning about how you can be the best you can on a board. It is my honor and pleasure to crown you this evening with your crown of congratulations for and on behalf of the Board of Women on Boards Network. And on behalf of the board, there is a special dedication for you, which I would just like to play for you because the board will kill me if I did not play it for you. Congratulations once more. Go ye change the world.
I know this world seems so big and everything seems so out of reach. The sky is high and the walk is wide. You just don't know what you've got yet. It's in the palm of your hand. It's right in front of where you stand. If you believe everything you dream will can love, no matter how you hurt, love will come to you, back to you. This world is yours. At times I know it's gonna be hard when you think you can't go on. But there's a plan for you. Just let your heart follow through. Come on, I promise you can do it all. 'Cause where you fall, you can always start again. Your future's right in front of where you stand. If you believe everything you dream will come true. And if you can love, no matter how you hurt, love will come to you, back to you. This world is yours. Climb a mountain, cross the ocean, sail a river until it opens. And make good friends, listen hard, let it out, and dance on. If you believe everything you dream will come true. And if you can see, there's nothing that can be too big for you. No, no. If you can see, if you can believe, if you can dream, this world is yours, yeah. This world is yours.
So this word is yours if you believe. I will allow our chief guest to curate that message for our graduates. Joyce, over to you.
So what to say other than to just say there's lots of congratulatory messages coming through. I'm trying to read through the chat. I'll stop the. So I really wanted to say a huge congratulations, first and foremost, to the Women on Boards Network team. You are amazing. You have no idea what this initiative means to us as the women of Kenya. I speak as a product of the work of Women on Boards Network. In the few years I have interacted, I have grown because this is a space where you feel safe to be you. So as you have been commissioned to go out into the world, please take up the space as if you know what you are doing, because you know what you are doing. You will not be pretending. You will not be trying to do things that you have no clue. Start with the bag of fruits of knowledge that you have harvested today up to where you have reached on this graduation ceremony. I recall in our days when Moi used to be farmer #1, chancellor for everything. He came to every graduation, and one of the things he used to say is, I give you the power to read and to do all that appertains to this degree. Can you imagine that? all that appertains is everything. And I think when Catherine took that seriously and came and formed Women to her degree, and together with her friends, so because we add value, we are called to be and to make the world a better place for ourselves and for everyone. So with that, ladies, a big congratulations. Just started. And congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joyce. Judy, over to you.